Hello, hello. I am Reverend Twyla Reece coming to you from Unity of Merced, California. It is so lovely to be with you today. Oh my goodness. I'm doing a little bit different technology, so forgive my hesitation as I learn some new software. And please play along with me as we learn and grow together. On Sunday, this previous Sunday, which was the last Sunday of September 2021, I spoke on the topic of grief, but not only grief, grieving, but also on the topic of finding the sunlight within you. Finding the sunlight within you. In Unity, one of our basic teachings is called denials and affirmations. Now, most of you, I imagine, are familiar with denials, with affirmations, but denials are a way of retrieving the power from a negative situation. So, let me explain it this way. A reality in our world, in our physical world, is that we have been bombarded over the last few years, just as an example, with trauma and drama, which seems to continue to move forward with us. And it has taken a deep toll on our emotions, on our psyches, on our physical well being. So there is that reality. There has been fear, there has been drama, there has been trauma. But here is a spiritual truth. There is also so much light and love and joy and goodness and generosity and, dare I say, compassion in the world. So much kindness. It is always there. It is always available. It is simply for us to see it, to remember it, to know, hear that, to know that it is so. So we have a reality, a physical reality of negative emotions that has been turned into fear and anger and judgment. What we want to do with the denial is to deny the power of whatever it is that is scaring you, upsetting you, that you see as a threat in your world or in the collective world. You want to see that and say, let's just use COVID-19, for example. I deny the power of COVID-19 to rule my life. I deny the power of COVID-19 to increase the fear in the world. Now, we're not denying its existence. We're recognizing its existence. But we deny it the power to hold fear over us. We deny it the power to be the most important thing. And there is a spiritual truth that when we deny something that power, it allows for the light and love to come flooding in and transforming whatever that negativity is. Now, I know I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on this because some of you are probably going, well, yeah, right. And others of you are going, well, of course, that is so true. We don't want to spend our time looking at the darkness. We want to look at our time, take our time affirming the light. I'm, excuse me, going to sneeze. Here by myself, socially distanced, no fear. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Denial and affirmation. Denial in this sense is not denying the reality, but denying the power of a negative reality to have any sway over us. It can be challenging to make good and healthy decisions when we're all caught up in the drama. We need to be able to take a step back and take a breath and find that spirit within and say, okay, what is the loving thing to do in this moment? What is the compassionate thing to do in this moment? What is the sane thing to do in this moment? And then affirm that. So as we say, I deny the power of COVID-19 to have sway over me with fear and trepidation and trauma. And I now call in the highest form of love, the God of your understanding, whatever that is, to fill my heart, to fill my voice, my being with faith, with grace, with beauty, with light. It is in that place that we can find a transformation, even if someone you know, or maybe yourself, is experiencing COVID-19 in that moment. Trust me, it gets easier to work with when we surrender the power of the fear and find the power of grace and spirit, to call upon the higher wisdom of the universe. It truly does work. So Valarie Kaur, on grieving, in her book, See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love. She says, when we are brave enough to sit with our pain, it deepens our ability to sit with the pain of others. It shows us how to love them. Doesn't that ring true with what I was just saying? When we are brave enough to sit with our pain, recognize it and breathe into it, then it deepens our ability to sit with the pain of others and be there as their light, to be there for yourself as your light, as your faith, as your hope, as your glory. Christ in you, your hope of glory, from Colossians. We want to discover from within us how to process and be with each of these realities, right? We want to feel into each of those realities. It's in seeing the shadow that the shadow can be dispersed. It is in seeing the shadow that we can know that there is a contrast of darkness and light. And a shadow is always surrounded with more light than shadow. Shadow is not the absence of light. It is simply less light, less visible light. But the light never goes away. Does that make sense? I want to see if I can briefly share with you a dream that I had last week that was so very significant for me, and maybe someone who is listening will find a jewel in this. I'm not going to bother with the backstory. It's a little too convoluted, but I'll jump into the place of the dream where I am with a fragile infant, so fragile and so tiny that you can see the blue veins under its very delicate skin. Very, very small, very, very tiny, very fragile. And the mother has the baby, and she finds that surrounding the baby is just a mess. And so she needs to go get what she needs to clean up the mess that is spreading around the bed and the blankets. Very real, a little raw, but so it is. So I'm watching the baby while the mother is gone. And I take the baby in my arms and I step outside onto the patio. And there is a tree, a beautiful tree with beautiful roots. And I'm holding the baby. I don't know what happens, but something happens that causes me to need to put the baby down on the ground. So the baby is lying on the ground, and it is immediately attracting dirt and grime that just begins to cover its face and its neck and over its eyes and one side of its body. And I'm just watching this happen. I'm not reaching down to pick the baby up. I'm just watching this happen. While this dirt is beginning to take over this baby, there is also a glow, this beautiful orange glow that is shining from within the child. And I'm just mesmerized by it. This beautiful orange glow, I can still see it. I can still feel the dream. And the scene changes just a little bit, and the mother comes out on the patio. She comes back. She looks at the baby. She looks at me. And very calmly, she doesn't panic. She doesn't freak out. But she just very calmly looks at me and says, "So aren't you going to do anything about this?" And it kind of wakes me up. And I reach down and I pick up this fragile child now that has dirt caked all over its face, its eyes, its body, while at the same time, this beautiful glow. Scene change. And now the baby and I, the baby is much more robust. The baby is so much more healthy. And the baby is on the ground on all fours. It can now crawl. And it is much healthier. And I'm standing next to the child who is on the ground on all fours. And I'm just observing the child. And the baby looks at me very calmly, very serenely, with these big, beautiful eyes, just round, beautiful eyes, and just looks at me. And I woke up. Scene. I just woke up. And this is what I was left with. I was left with the hope and the life and the light of love everlasting. I was left with the knowing that no matter how dark something may look, no matter how the darkness feels around me or other people or our world, that there is the light and there is love. Can you feel that? Can you sense that? The light, the love, and the glory, no matter what is going on. If you are in a place where you feel like you are grieving, allow yourself to grieve. For it is in that grieving that we can release. Don't let it take you down. Deny the power of the grieving to take you to the ground, but allow it to flow through you. Remember, Valarie said, when we are brave enough to sit with our pain, it deepens our ability to sit with the pain. It deepens our ability to sit with the pain of others. It shows us how to love. So I call upon you to go forth and remember that you are the light, to remember that you are love incarnate. You are steeped in the beauty and the oneness of God's love. in the universal flow, in the vibration, in the quantum field, the vibration of love. Go and be a light unto the world. Go and be a light unto yourself. And so it is. See you soon.